So, we all know what music is, right? I mean, listen, man, unless you're like one fan from the hit Pixar movie Coco, music's so ingrained in society and culture as a whole that even deaf people are capable of getting in on it. But much like the past couple of videos, we're gonna be getting into some really niche stuff that, unless you have enough free time to waste most of your life on the internet, you're gonna have no idea what they're gonna be talking about. Because of that, before you watch this one, I highly recommend you watch my previous few videos. I've been tentatively online as a primer for this. But considering my target demographic here, that hopefully isn't going to be too much of an issue. Anyway, as you all probably know, the last couple of videos of mine have been relatively heavy in comparison to my usual stuff. So here's something that's hopefully on the lighter side that will also scratch at niche users internet garbage kick that I've been on for the past few weeks. Or maybe a month, depending on when this video comes out. We'll see when we get there. Yeah, it sounds like having a really inconsistent upload schedule is a bad thing. Who would have thought? Anyway, tangent aside, much like many things these days, this video's topic is deeply interwoven with fandom culture. And if you had any experience with that, you probably already know the type of music I'm going to be talking about here. For example, Tally Hall, Lemon Demon, Jiraiya, Marina, Glass Caravan, Glass Beach, Flaro, Mitsuki, Will Wood, Cave Town, TV Girl, Receipt Headrest, Shawnee Jash, Nellwood, I don't know how, but they found me, Mother Mother, most Vocaloid songs, anything by Toby Fox, the Steven Universe OSC, and by extension, anything by Rebecca Sugar, and of course, an uncountable number of musicals because you know how the kids are. For the sake of time, let's just say Hamilton, Heather's Beamer Chill, and Dear Evan Hansen. For the Evan Hansen, specifically the musical, we do not talk about the movie adaptation. Oh, and let's not forget an equally uncountable number of video game OSTs because you know how timely online nerds are too. Particularly Undertale, Deltarune, Kirby, Pokemon, almost every Sonic game, and Jet Set Radio. Look, we'd be here for days I've listed off all of them, and even then, I only named relatively popular and recent ones. If you want to take a step back, we still got My Chemical Romance and many other such gay loser nerd classics. Look, I've said it 1,000 times before, but I cannot stress this enough. A lot of internet culture is based upon people being able to express themselves in ways they will not be able to do so in real life. It's why I see so much overlap in certain communities and hell, even these videos. So many different flavors of nerd come together and intermingle in the beautiful act of nerd and cultural exchange, resulting in that overlap I just mentioned. You know, the Ultimate Showdown, the Ultimate Destiny, and the Harry Potter and Puppet Pals, both were made by Neil C.C. Riga, also known by the pseudonym Lemon Demon, creator of songs like Touchdown Telephone, Lifetime Achievement Award, My Trains, Eighth Wonder, Cabinet Man, and the masterpiece known as Two Trucks. What are those two trucks doing? Well, I can't say that without getting smited, so you just gotta bear with me here. Typically, songs such as these are spread throughout the internet by means of fan-made music videos, animation memes, and other things such of that nature. Personally, I was a little late to the party and stumbled upon Touchstone Telephone because of the Spotify algorithm, but once I learned that Lemon Demon and Neil were the same guy, I grew a keener eye for noticing the quote-unquote recurring characters of the internet. Fun fact, did you know that Neil's sister worked on Gravity Falls? I did until a couple months back, but it turns out Neil also made an intro song that never got used. About another example. Toby Fox, the enigmatic creator of Undertale and Deltarune, responsible for apparently altering the brain chemistry of an entire generation of children with both his music and game design, was first an Earthbound Roundhack creator and notorious Homestuck fan. Also, he ended up voice acting in the Rebay Bay spinoff, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, it's not exactly uncommon knowledge nowadays, but it's still a funny thought to think that we might have never gotten Undertale without Homestuck. Hell, even while the Kickstarter pledged she would let you put your own troll OC in the game as a mini boss, which never happened, thank God, and we got so sorry instead. But still, though, it is a funny thought that we would have been in the same universe that we would have saw a Homestuck OC in Undertale because someone really wanted it. Now, the reason why I'm saying all this is because I cannot overstate the importance of convergent evolution in internet culture. Now, if you've completely repressed high school biology, and trust me, I completely understand it, let me catch you up. Convergent evolution is a process in which two completely unrelated organisms evolve to take on the same traits. For example, let's look at bats. They have wings and they can fly, but they're mammals, not birds. Or whales. They're mammals too, but they're completely aquatic and have tails and they can move underwater despite not being fish. Or more simply, think of convergent evolution like copying a friend's homework because you know they're smarter than you. Which is why we are seeing a lot of animals evolve to crabs for some reason. Freaky stuff, man, I'm saying. Or putting things even more simply, convergent evolution is just overlap in design. With that finally out of the way, hopefully by now you have a decent idea of what gay people music is. But the question remains, what makes something gay people music? Well, obviously, besides just gay people listening to it. That said, gay people music takes a lot of shapes and forms. It isn't contained to a singular genre, if you would. Instead, it's based more on vibes. Now, can you tell me what Undertale, Steven Universe, and Neil C.C. Riga's entire discography all have in common? Ahem. Not only were they wildly popular amongst timely online teenagers in respective areas, but they also all had some deeper underlying emotional message and angst underneath all that silliness. Neil C.C. Riga, aka Lemon Demon, is capable of making more emotional songs. At the very least, capable of getting people emotionally invested in some kind of story, like in his remake of YMCA, and his song Touchstone Telephone, and by extension, its demo Ivanushka. And not to mention his bonus track on his album Dinosaur Orchestra, Birthday. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say his songs are the most emotionally deep, but the mixture of whimsy, silliness, and the underlying edge give the listener just enough room to come up with their own interpretations of the story Neil is trying to tell through his songs. Not to mention, considering that Neil got to start animating too, and as for the Steven Universe and Undertale slash Deltarune soundtracks, come on, have you seen their fan bases? I feel like that should speak for itself at this point. That isn't an insult either. If you're familiar with either of the source materials, though, you already know about the chokehold they had on people back in the day. Undertale being the quickie indie game for the longest time, and Steven Universe creating so many hot takes that people still love missing the point and dunking on people who miss the point to this day. But do you know what they all have in common? They all have some kind of combination of whimsy, silly, and angsty. Glass Beach, whimsy, silly, angsty. Tally Hall and Miracle Musical, whimsy, silly, angsty. Will Wood, come on, you already know what I'm about to say. You don't need all three, but the general theme amongst gay people music is that it all somehow tries to evoke some form of raw, visceral emotion from the listener. But the difference all lies in the execution. Most interestingly, though, for popular artists like Lemon Demon, Tally Hall slash Miracle Musical, and Will Wood, it's undeniable that part of their influence comes from musical theater, which may play a big part of their popularity amongst queer people because, as you all know, musical theater is really, really gay. And by process of elimination, we can deduce that theater kids, by association, would also be really, really gay. Still, though, in terms of precise emotion, sometimes it's goofy, sometimes it's angry, sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's self-knows. But this emphasis on raw feeling, gay people music, while it's not always the case, tends to come from artists on the more indie side of the spectrum, but artists that at the very least started out there. I wouldn't call My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, or Panic at the Disco indie bands nowadays, but back in the early to mid 2000s, listening to them in public had a pretty good chance of scaring away the hoes. Ahem. Granted, for the most part, people may look back on those fans fondly now, but answer me this. But riddle me this. How much of that is due to people genuinely enjoying them, and how much of it is people realizing they were always pretty good and just letting other people's opinions and social norms sway their thoughts, and thus miss out? Now, this isn't even just a music thing. Let's take a look at Sonic 06, aka Sonic the Hedgehog. That game blew ass when it first came out, it blows ass now, and it'll continue to blow ass the rest of time. It's got some redeeming qualities here and there, the soundtrack being the biggest one. But to say that that game plays good, that is straight delusion. And yet, more and more people these days are coming out the woodwork and going on and on about how the game isn't that bad. Now, the question remains, what does this have to do with anything I just said? You see, a lot like gay people music, when Sonic 06 is far from a good game, it managed to resonate with people due to sheer emotion alone. And come on, I was a Sonic kid myself, and as much as the game sucked, even I have to admit, seeing Shadow pop off the inhibitor rings for the first time was the hardest thing Child Me had ever seen up until that point. And not to mention, his will to top these Sonic songs. Now, with the other two, I'm gonna keep that ambiguous because it's funny that way, but I'll tell you this right now. Go ahead and argue in the comments because it's not in the but. For an example that's slightly more music adjacent, there's this one genre notorious for scaring away all the hoes in the 50, dare I say, 500-mile radius, and I say that with the utmost love and respect. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to hyperpop, the genre of music that's best described as concentrated overstimulation in song form. While there may be a slight, and I mean slight exaggeration, hyperpop at its core serves as a heavily exaggerated parody of modern pop music, often fused with EDM and sometimes hip hop. While I will admit I'm not the biggest hyperpop fan out there, I like Stupid Horse, Numbers to Go to the World's pretty good, but upon my own grave, you'll never get me to call that slop 100 gex called Money Machine actual music. And much like musical theater, hyperpop is gay, like notoriously gay. Can't even walk in a straight line or think straight gay. Not that liking hyperpop immediately makes you gay or anything, but come on, we all know the primary demographic is here. The essence of hyperpop lies in taking everything you found in pop EDM and whatever else have you, taking it up to 11 and scaring away all the hoes in the 100-mile radius. Better yet, bear with me here. While hyperpop and other adjacent genres such as breakcore often have a side effect to scare the hoes away, that often isn't the main goal. Like all art, at the end of the day, music is just another form of self expression. 100 Gex may not be one of my favorite bands, but even so, I can't deny that there is genuine care and passion put into their work. And not to mention, it does take a certain skill to recognize what aspects of music to exaggerate in order to make a good hyperpop song, resulting in the distinct nightcore inspired vocal style. A vocal style which was born from one half of the duo, Lori Lee, or Lori Lee's, I don't fucking know how to pronounce it, I'll be real with you. Either way, Lawyer's got voices for you. And why does this matter? No matter how hard you separate art from the artist, art cannot exist in a vacuum. Technically speaking, it's entirely possible for pieces of media to have no political messages in mind at the time of creation, but even so, they're still products of the creators. Products which, at the end of the day, are subtly influenced by the lived experience of the creators in question, consciously or unconsciously. The fair amount of Hunter Gex's work references Laura's experience of trances and gender dysphoria, and don't even get me started on artists like Glass Beach and Rainbow Kid Safari's and Girl Nerd, and just about any other nondescript indie rock band you can find on Spotify these days. So picture this. What if gay people music wasn't made with the goal of scaring the hoes in mind, but rather a result of people being scared of the hoes themselves? And not only that, what does it mean to scare the hoes away to begin with? Amongst the many phrases taken from African American vernacular English, scaring the hoes, also known as scaring the bitches, is one of the few phrases that is nearly impossible to misinterpret. Unlike yat, which is an exaggerated form of God, often mispronounced as yat, which has been doomed ever since it started showing up on Vine compilations, despite never picking up traction until somewhat recently. Simply put, to scare away the hoes is to do anything that is deemed socially taboo or sufficiently outside of mainstream norms that causes people to distance themselves from you. But scare away the bitches. See also bitch repellent, which is more or less the same thing. Actions are objects that repel the bitches. This again ties back to the points I've been making for the past 3 videos. Now, gun to the back of your head. Do you really feel comfortable playing every, and I mean every single one of your playlists to your entire family? Exactly. And if you said yes, stop lying to yourself. It only proves my point more here. Sure, they're your family. They won't murder you for like a hyperpop, or at least hopefully they won't. But still, do you really want to run the risk of having to explain the context of every song and every lyric and potentially dig yourself an even bigger grave in the process? Ahem, ahem. Now, gun to the back of your head again. Name me 5 Ken Ashcroft songs that you can comfortably play around any of your grandparents. Yeah, that's what I thought. Not all gay people music is bitch repellent, but even so, the essence of gay people music lies in pushing social norms and exploiting oneself in ways that may result in negative social repercussions if done more directly. A lot of gay people music happens to be bitch repellent because of that. Ahem, ahem. Now, for even more examples, let's take a quick look at rap and hip hop. People have been complaining that it's been the downfall of society and corrupting the youth ever since its inception. But look at rock and all its subgenres. People are complaining that rock and roll is the devil and was teaching kids how to be Satanists, but then rap came along and suddenly people had this new thing to hate. This isn't exclusive to music either. Look at D&D and the Satanic Panic. Look at the many campaigns thinking that games like Doom and Grand Theft Auto are encouraging people to commit crimes in real life. Look at the people that thought Pokemon was encouraging dogfighting. Look at the people who thought Dragon Ball Z was encouraging kids to actually fight each other. And you know why this happens? People love complaining about things they don't completely understand. Until recently, the internet's been a special case. Early on, there were a lot of PSAs about making sure you knew who your kids are talking to online, along with a few about cyberbullying here and there, and for good reason. But it hasn't been until the mid to late 2010s that people realized that seeing their kids in front of a computer, or God forbid, an iPad all day, wasn't really a good move. And because of this, I think the internet was a perfect place for gay people music to prosper because no one really cared about what happened on it until now. It wasn't like someone's homophobic parents who rented their kid's Tumblr account back in the day, and more likely than not, they wouldn't even know what Tumblr even was. And even if they did, what are the odds they would know enough to catch on about what songs the kids would be into? Another unique aspect of most gay people music, save for the bands that would eventually go on to be more mainstream like Panic at the Disco, My Chemical Romance, and Fall Out Boy, was that most of it was composed of indie artists that earned most of their presence online, and it formed a sense of community because of that. People discovered they like the same artist, and eventually they start sharing music with one another. Someone else discovered the song, and then they post that somewhere else, and then the process repeats itself. Social media engagement doesn't guarantee commercial success, but at the very least, what it does guarantee is an audience of people willing to wait for music, and in the industry, that alone goes a long way. But that begs the question, is there really such a thing as gay people music then? Or rather, is gay people music just a subgenre of a larger music group that happens to be enjoyed by losers on the internet with way too much time on their hands? And to that I say, I don't know, man. Labels are confusing. Like, look at funk, not funk, funk. Funk for PH is this specific genre of hip hop that was initially inspired by Memphis rap before evolving to the aggressive, bass oriented tracks that you probably heard at least once if you've been on the internet long enough these days. No, it's really popular on SoundCloud. It pops up pretty regularly in anime edits, but even so, I wouldn't consider funk gay people music, let alone bitch repellent. But why is that? I don't know, but if I had to hazard a guess, it's likely got something to do with funk having more mainstream appeal. Funk, unlike the supposed genre of gay people music, maintains enough of its hip hop influence, it has enough energy to draw on the people who don't know shit about it, which, when paired with its presence on social media, make it more acceptable to a wider audience. I mean, there's a reason why I see hella JJK edits for Hockey busting it down to Tuka Donka and not, I don't know, Toxic by Britney Spears or edits of Kirara dancing to Glass Beach songs or something. But even so, while funk is one of the many genres that'll give your grandma a heart attack if you played it around her, it doesn't necessarily scare the hoes away. With that in mind, there's also plenty of music out there made by openly queer artists that most people wouldn't immediately classify as gay people music. Brockhampton, for example, was led by Kevin Abstract, an openly queer rapper who has talked about the experience of getting kicked out of his religious household for being gay on multiple occasions in his music. But at the same time, I wouldn't really classify much of Brockhampton's catalog as gay people music, and I fucking love those guys. Off the top, the closest song I can think of theirs even coming close to be Rental, which did get some attention as an animation meme, but even so, that's kind of pushing it. The same goes to Tyler, the Creator, who dedicated an entire album to him coming to terms with his sexuality in the form of his album Flower Boy, also known as Scum Fuck Flower Boy, but yeah, no one says a full name, let's be real. Which is strange considering that songs like Glitter, See You Again, and Boredom, which features Rex Orange County, an artist known for gay people classics such as Corduroy Dreams, Best Friend, Pluto Projector, and Sunflower, at least to my knowledge, aren't songs you catch every terminally online gay person you know being at least vaguely aware of. And by all means, most of Flower Boy has most of what I mentioned about gay people music being known for, save for the indie part. It has the raw emotion and discussion involving Tyler's sexuality, literally being gay people music in the sense it was made by a queer person, but then again, Flower Boy is nowhere close to being bitch repellent, so maybe that's got something to do with it. You could reasonably play Flower Boy, Igor, Call Me If You Get Lost, and even some of Wolf around your family and not raise too many questions. But on the flip side, you have Steve Lacy, an artist who I consider to be capable of putting out gay pube music in the form of songs like See You Girl, Bad Habit, and maybe Dark Red if you squint hard enough. Well, Lil Nas coming out about liking dudes on the last day of Pride Month had people losing their shit, but besides that, I can't say I remember too many of his songs staying too much traction in the larger gay Sumo community. Though it's not like I listen to the guy that much, so I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and the five ride or die Lil Nas X fans are gonna come into my comments in a second now and explain how wrong I am. But all that aside, what does this say about the online queer community as a whole? I have no idea, no clue at all. But it does call into question the biases and overlapping themes found in the songs that gay people online choose to latch onto. So before I wrap things up, what even is gay people music? And being honest, I don't entirely know myself. Yeah, it's one of those things where you can point out a few recurring themes like I have with the entirety of this video, but once you try to narrow it down to something more specific, you end up finding more questions than answers. Like I and most other people, to my knowledge, wouldn't qualify funk as gay people music, but it shares a surprising amount of things in common with breakcore, a genre known for being really, really gay, doing parts to the alarming amount of trans people loving that shit. But if I had to narrow it down, I believe that as a whole, gay people music revolves around expressing oneself in a way that's socially unconventional, but with such raw emotion and sincerity that still draws people in, those people usually also being gay as hell. Are the Undertale and Pizza Tower OSTs gay about themselves? Nah, but take a look at their respective fan bases, and you have a solid argument as to why they qualify as gay people music. Take a look at Lemon Demon for the thousandth time. I'm pretty sure the two trucks now one song aren't gay, but like, take a look at everything else and look me in the eye and tell me that like you don't know there's a target demographic here. Hamilton, the musical about the founding fathers that had melanin, notoriously had theater kids in the chokehold for almost a decade straight, despite nothing in there being too gay inherently. Also, on a tangentially related note, David Diggs, the guy who played Lafayette, Thomas Jefferson in Hamilton, is also a member of Clipping. That has nothing to do with the video, I just like the band. Anyway, I suppose that in a sense, gay people music has its roots in queerness. Not queerness in the sense of being gay, but rather queerness in the sense of the original definition of the word queer, to be odd, strange, or unconventional. Although, as one would expect, being queer as in liking the same gender does have a part in it. Who would have thought that? And in all honesty, it's probably why a lot of gay people music ends up also being bitch repellent. If you're queer or hell, part of any other marginalized group, you definitely know the feeling of there being something wrong. But at the same time, you don't know how to explain what or even why it is. So you get scared of talking to people because you're afraid that they'll dunk on you for being weird. It's not that you like scaring the hoes away, but even so, the hoes scare you. Maybe, just maybe, gay people music is a result of a society that prejudices youth to hide press themselves away in order to avoid being shunned by their peers, forcing them to find comfort and acceptance in whatever ways they can. Or maybe I'm just looking way too deep into things and people who go for the same stuff tend to like the same things. Maybe it's mass hysteria caused by the microplastics found in everything nowadays. Who's to say? At the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just some rad on the internet with too many opinions and way too much free time. So, if you enjoyed the video, comment down below what you think gay people music is. And if you want to see more, like and sub. It really helps the algorithm. Hit the bell too. And without further ado, thanks for coming, thank you for staying, and thank you for watching the show. Sub to Go Meal. Peace.